Hey, what's going on, guys? So yesterday, went on a little shopping spree. I picked up this SSR 125. I also picked up this Honda Shadow, but that's for another day. This is a whole mess. So this thing, I got it for a pretty good deal, but as you can see, it's all taken apart. Engine's taken apart, wiring's messed up. Nothing too major, but the previous guy, he said he took it apart because the engine wasn't spinning freely. But as you can see, it spins pretty freely. So I think the first order of business on this thing is to put the head back on. And I have no idea how to do that. So we're going to be figuring this out as I go. Also with the bike, got a whole box of parts, bearings, exhaust, and these bags, I assume, I have engine parts. What do we have here? Yeah, something. He gave me the oil. He took out the bike. I guess this guy was a hack. So let me go find the head in these bags and try and line everything back up. So I found the head. It actually seems to be in good shape. Valves look okay. The inside of it looks pretty decent. I found the old head gasket, which of course I'm going to reuse. I'm a hack. So I assume this goes on. How does this go on? I would assume something like this. Yeah, something like that. And then the chain would go through it. Kind of hard to do this with one hand. Yeah, it looks like it lines up somewhat. Okay. And now let me try and slide the head on. I'm going to use my second hand for this. Alright, so I have the head mocked up. The chain also mocked up. So the next step is to put this gear in and the chain around the gear. And also put some bolts on these, the head studs, some nuts, so it kind of stays in place. So I know I have this gear in here. If it comes out. Oh, here it is. I have this washer, which I believe goes over here like that. I have to double check that. And now I just have to find the hardware from those bags. So that's the next step. Alright, so after like an hour of playing with this, I tighten down these head bolts. I put this one in there. And after a lot of finagling, I got the cam gear and the chain on. These are just finger tight. And this is a top dead center. This lines up with the notch. So I guess it's okay. You spin the engine. It seems to spin pretty freely. So I'm assuming it's okay. Hopefully it's okay. Now I'm just going to tighten everything up. I have the front cover, the back cover. I found the long bolt that you basically stick through here, through the back, in the front like that. So you tighten everything down. And then from there you got to put the carburetor on. And we have to put the exhaust on. I probably have to RTV a few things. So while that dries, I'll do the wiring and finish assembling the whole rear end of this bike. Alright, so I have this cover on and this cover on. Have a little bit of RTV on it. So now I'm just taking my 10. Gonna tighten this up a little bit. Just snug. Like that, just so the RTV can start to settle. I'm gonna get these two bolts in as soon as I find them in my pile, and then after a few minutes I'm gonna snug it up to, I believe, 8 foot-pounds. That's the torque spec on all these nuts and bolts. Alright, it's been a couple minutes. I'm gonna snug this up. not too tight. Don't need to break it. Then these are 8mm. My 8mm socket. So again, bear with me. Doing this one hand. Not the easiest thing to do with one hand. Alright. That should be okay, not too bad, not too tight. Okay, snug. Okay, you check this last one more time. Alright. This isn't gonna break or anything. Oh, that's how you know you leave it too tight. Pretend nothing happened. Okay, let's go do the wiring now. So, I took a look at it. It seems that everything that goes into here to give this thing spark is cut. This connector, which goes into here, has, I see, one cut wire, and then this green wire. And I see there's 2 more wires up there, which I assume go to these here. So I might have to pull up a wiring diagram. Actually, I see another wire up there. I have to pull up a wiring diagram or a picture of the harness and see how I can connect all these together. Alright, so what I figure my best option here is take off the gas tank so I can actually see the wiring. So here you can see some wires. I'll try and get them loose. Pull them out a little bit. My little screwdriver. So once I have these out, like that, might even cut the zip tie just so I can have them free. Oh, here we go. Alright, that's one. This is probably not the right way to do this, but you know, I'm making things work over here. Alright, so push this out. Come on, one more. Get out of there. Alright, this one. Pull it out. Alright, so here we have some wires that all go to something. So what I can tell here, this wire probably goes to this. This wire probably goes to this. This one I already know goes back into itself. Oh man, this is a mess. Alright. So here we have it nice and clear. So this one goes to this one, the black and yellow to black and yellow. I don't see a red and black wire, which is a little concerning. I assume the green on this bike is a ground. Okay. So let me take a look at this, and I'll get back to you in 1 second. Alright, so I think I have it figured out. From the kill switch up there, I follow the wires from this plug, and they run in here to the coil, which will go here in the spark plug. Here we have the CDI box and this plug. So I connected yellow and black together. I connected the green together. I guess this piece doesn't get used. The blue and white together, and the red and black together. And from what I've seen online, the yellow and white wires, which I have here, they do not get used because they would go into a voltage regulator if this thing had a battery, which it does not have a battery. So I'm going to cut these off, tape them up so they don't spark, tape everything else up, and get to assembling the carburetor and the exhaust. And if I did everything correctly, it should have spark, which we will test for later. Here we have a great example of me doing things the wrong way. Got some RTV on this and that. Stick that on. roughly like that. Now I can screw it in. We got the washer on. Try and get it to line up somewhat. Like that. Okay. Number 2 on the other side. You know, if this works, I'll be pretty surprised, because I'm pretty sure this is not how you do it. But I'm not spending the money on paper gaskets over here. I'm just trying to get this thing to fire up. Let's lightly thread it in. This too. Alright, now I'll leave it. Alright, so that's drying. I snug them up, put electrode tape over these connectors, and I put the spark plug in over here just so it's there. So let's see if this engine turns over. I think we're in business. It doesn't feel like it's catching. I feel pretty good compression over top dead center. Yeah. I think it'll run. I think this will run. Now, put the carburetor on, gas tank back on, and I'm going to see if I can start it without the chain and all that attached, just see how the engine runs. Alright, so here we have the carburetor. It actually doesn't look too bad. Choke works. Throttle inside looks okay. If it's even in there. I don't think I even have the throttle. Actually, no, I don't. It's over there. So, what I like to do whenever I have a carburetor off a bike, I like to at least open it up. Just make sure that whatever is inside isn't too gunked up. That way I don't have to put it on and take it back off right after when I realize that the bike doesn't want to run. So take this off. Okay, so that looks delicious. Wow, someone really didn't drain the gas tank on this thing. But inside the carburetor doesn't look too bad, to be completely honest. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the jets, and let's see. The needle looks okay actually, from what I can see. So you have the float, and it's supposed to bounce back. So basically the way it works, when it's like this, it's down, gas comes in. When it gets full, the float will go up and it shuts off the gas from coming in. So the needle valve looks okay actually. It doesn't look like it's stuck or anything, which is a big plus. So let me get a flathead and take out the pilot jet and the main jet over here and see how dirty or clean they are inside. Alright, so I have my flathead. Let's see. We'll start off with the pilot jet. It looks like someone's been in here recently. So, what I like to do is hold this to the light. This looks pretty gunked up, to be completely honest. Actually, yeah, it's pretty gunked up. You can see there's sludge covering. Hopefully the camera focuses. It's completely covering one of the ports. I looked through it. Can't really see. So it probably wouldn't even run on that. Take out the main jet. I'm actually curious what size this is. Screw this out. Yeah, this one's even worse. Wow. All the ports are clogged up on this one. So, what you can use is carb cleaner. You can soak it in gasoline. All that more or less works. You can take a needle, stick a needle through it. The main goal is to break apart all the gunk and to clean all the ports inside the carburetor. That way it can idle smooth and it can run smooth. Otherwise you'll have starting issues. It's going to need to run only on choke. It's a whole headache. So also the bowl, this stuff's like caramelized. That's disgusting. So I'm going to clean that out too. Probably scrape it out with the screwdriver and put some fresh gas in there. Alright, so I have the jets sitting in the bowl. Sprayed some carb cleaner in there. And I'm just letting it soak. Let the carb cleaner do the work for me. And I'll come back after a few minutes and I will revisit how they look. Which hopefully is cleaner. If they're still not perfect, I'll take a needle, pop it through. And it should be fine. I'm not too worried about it. They didn't look too terrible. So now back at the bike, I realized another issue. There's no clutch. And I found the clutch. But, well, not fell, but as you can see, it's broken off. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not replacing this. So, I'm going to get a flathead, take this off, and honestly, I'm probably just going to JB weld it for now and send it. Maybe I'll rob it off of this bike. Which one's the clutch? This. Yeah, you know, it looks close enough, right? Yeah, I might rob it off of that. We'll see. But for now, I'm taking this off and JB welding. I'm going to try it. Or Gorilla Glue. Hopefully it'll work. Alright, I got these pretty cleaned up. You can see through them. Got the bowl pretty cleaned up. So now just going to screw them back in. Put the main jet back in the center. Pilot jet next to it. Snug it up. You do not want to make this tight because it is copper and or brass and it will strip. I speak from experience on that. So now you take your bowl, stick it right, actually make sure it's clean, especially if you're a hack like me and you're not replacing the gaskets. Definitely make sure it's clean so it doesn't leak. Alright, just put your screws in. Put this in over here for the hose. And just snug it up. Okay, 1. And 2. And there you have it. Should be clean enough. Now time to install it on the bike. Okay, so the way I like to do it, put this top piece on first. You look inside. You can see the little throttle tube. So then, sort of just line it up with this. Move the wires out of the way. And then you're going to put your 2 nuts, or in my case 2 screws or 2 bolts through here. And your carburetor is going to be on. So I got to put the camera down and put them in. Alright, so with that done, this is your fuel line right here. So the only thing left to do is to put the gas tank back on. I have the zip tie there to zip tie the wires up. Take the gas tank. Let's see how does it go. Something like this. Line that up. Line this up. I don't even remember what size they were. Figure it out. Just snug for now. Just leave everything in place. It's probably going to come right back apart anyways in a minute. Hopefully this petcock doesn't leak, because they usually have a tendency to on these old things. That's okay. So now I need to figure out a hose that will go from here down here. The fuel filter broke, obviously. Let's see, it's on. I guess it's on off. We'll find out when it starts leaking and I put gas in it. But let me work on getting a hose for this. I might just rob one off this bike. I mean, it's not going anywhere anytime soon. So I actually found some old vacuum hose, which was close enough, the right length. I had that from another car. So this is all set up. Now the only thing I need to do is put some gas in and put some oil in. So I gotta get some 4-stroke oil for this engine. And it should be good. So I'm gonna wait a little bit, let the RTV here dry. Actually, it's not that bad. It's pretty dry. But I'm gonna let everything dry up a little bit. Get some fluids in here. And hopefully we'll have our first start, or we're gonna find out why this was taken apart, because it looked okay to me. Alright, so I filled it up with oil. Put a little bit of oil in the spark plug. Fill it up with gas. Oh, there we go. I guess that's on, as long as this doesn't fall. Oh, it runs. Started right up. Smoky. Okay, so this obviously has to go somewhere. Hopefully it chokes off now. Let's see what happens. Oh, it needs to choke. Okay. Oh, we're leaking oil. I think I put too much in. A lot of oil. Oh. Made a little bit of a mess over here. I think it's leaking out that. Maybe I overfilled it. Looking it over, I think it's leaking from right here, from this cover. And I'm pretty sure I didn't RTV this gasket, I just kind of sent it on. So, gotta take it off and see what's going on in there. Or it could be leaking from this. And I kind of don't want to run the bike too long without finding out. So, we'll see. I mean, it looks like it's coming down this. You can see this is all oily. So I'm going to take these 10mm off and check it out. Yeah, just as I thought. No gasket there at all. I'm going to clean it up and put some RTV on it, let it dry for an hour or so. Hopefully by then the clutch lever and all that should be dry too. Yeah, this definitely is the issue. Didn't even think about it. Alright, so I slapped some RTV on this. Should be fine. I don't really care. Just gonna snug this up a little bit. I don't want to make it too tight. But, you know, here we go again with this. Like right there, that was probably already too tight. I don't want to do any more than that. I'm scared to. It's supposed to be 8 foot-pounds, but this should be okay just by feel. I can bring out my torque wrench and set it to 5. Hopefully the head holds. Looks okay. Now it's a waiting game. Because I'm really impatient. I couldn't bear to wait another moment. RTV was dry enough. Gave it a couple kicks, and aside from being a little smoky, runs pretty good. Turn the gas on. Trying to piss off my neighbors. Where's the stand? runs.